I thought I'd make a little introduction here on what this video is about. I make bone broths all the time and just veggie stocks. I like using my Instant Pot to make the stock, and then after I make the stock for myself and use it as I need, I keep returning the bones back to the pot and get more use out of them. So what I really like to do is to eventually make dog treats with them. And I make these Pupsicles and then I stuff them in the Kongs. So basically I just make another bone broth, but then I puree the bones with the stock and everything that's left without any splinters. And then I put them in these silicone molds, put them in the freezer, and then pop them out, throw them in a freezer bag, and then stuff them into Kongs for the pups to enjoy. So basically, when I make the bone broth to start with, I use whatever bones I have around. They might be raw bones like this. Maybe I'll throw them in the oven and brown them first for more flavor. Maybe it'll just be leftover bones from chicken that I ate for dinner. Or I got a rotisserie chicken from the grocery store, peeled all the meat off, threw the bone carcass in the freezer. That goes in the Instant Pot. And then, see, this is a bag of veggie scraps. Whenever I'm cutting vegetables for a meal, I save things like the carrot ends, the onion ends, the celery ends, and then I don't have to feel like I'm wasting anything. Like I'll actually just, cut the whole end off of the celery heart and throw that in the bag because I know it's going to get used nutritionally. And I like to use the Instant Pot because it seals. So I've done bone broth in a crock pot before, over 48 hours, and I find that it stinks up the house and it just takes a long time. This is a sealed unit, so I love using this. And then I don't do anything fancy. I just pressure cook. The longest the Instant Pot can run is 4 hours. So sometimes I'll set it at nighttime and have it going so that when I get up in the morning, it's good to go. But I don't want that running right now. Yeah, I just keep it simple. So throw my bones and veggie ends in there, cover with water. Some people will add a splash of apple cider vinegar to help bring out the collagen and gelatins in the bones. So that's always a good step. Just a splash though, because the flavor can get overpowering. And you can add whatever seasonings, you can add herbs. I like to add foraged goods because that's my style. So anyways, I'll get on with the rest of the video that shows the process. Starting from after I've already made my initial broths, and then it's becoming using what's left for dog treats. Pupsicles. I like to make my broths in the Instant Pot because I can pressure cook it and get it done in a much faster time and without stinking up the whole house like the slow cooker method does. So there's bones in here, there's goat and turkey, and then some extra veggie scraps, etc. So I'm just gonna, this was kind of sitting for the day, so I'm just gonna turn it back on to pressure cook. So just kind of give it a little blast of heat before I let it cool off again, and then separate things and puree it. Just also wanted to mention that since this is now dog broth, this is when I throw in bones that the dog has chewed on, that, they're kind of spent or they're splintering or just don't, they have other bones to chew on now, so that one's going in the stock. Just wanted to show this jelly that I got off the first broth before it This is the human stuff, not the dog stuff. So good for you. Try and do things in an order that I don't have to do dishes so much, because I go through so many dishes with all my crazy little creations. So that's gonna get frozen because I don't have time to make it into a soup today or tomorrow. So I'm just gonna strain this broth right into there. I like using this grill basket for a first strain because there's so much stuff on here. It allows the fine stuff to get through, but holds back the big stuff and really goes way quicker. So I'm gonna let it cool for a bit, because now that I've dumped it, it's I mean, this stuff's still pretty hot. I can touch it, but I want to be able to work with it with my hands. I want to be able to break stuff up and feel for sharp things that might not break down. Like I've never dealt with these little bones before, so I'm not sure how crumbly they will get. So just gonna let it cool off a bit. Oh, you get a glimpse of Shadow down here still enjoying her Kong while I'm working on making the stuffing for it. So I'm just gonna start going through and checking the bones for how tender they are, and if there's any hard sharp bits, I'm gonna chuck them in the other bowl. So this is important because you don't want the puppy getting sharp splintered bones, but also for well, she was knocking over my stand. Okay, so those bones are still really hard. Whatever that was, no good. So we got some rib bones here, and they are crumbling. So see all that stuff inside? They love that. She bumped it again. So this is, be very careful in this stage. So here's another really hard one that's going in there. This looks like a rib bone. Rib bones, depends. Some of them can stay pretty hard. Some of them can crumble. So if it's hard pieces, I'm keeping them off to the side. That was a super sharp splinter, but see how it just crumbles into nothing. That's gonna make some really good puree there, just like that. This one, I don't know. I don't like that one. It's looks too sharp and splintery, still kind of hard. So no good. This looks like a chicken bone, and it just turns to mush. So just keep going through them all. Make sure they're mushy. If they're sharp and splintery, they go off to the side. If they're questionable, off to the side. And there's nice chunks of meat in here. Oh, they're gonna love that. That is That's just a crumbly little piece, so that's fine. Veggies. Veggies are good for them too. That's a hard one. That's a nice soft mushy one. So yeah, just keep going through. You have to touch every single bone in this process. Mushy bones, bit of greens. Those are stems off of some greens. It's more meat. I believe that was, I think that was turkey. If they seem like they're not breaking apart easily, just don't worry about it. They've been pressure cooked long enough that they've certainly done their job. They've given lots of their nutrients already. This one's messy. I added a lot of broth to it. Normally it's quite a bit thicker. I'm just gonna keep this in the fridge for now because I have enough for a whole other batch of it, and I don't have another one of those fancy little epicure trays. This freezer is pretty much full of stock stuff. I just got these turkey feet the other day from the local butcher. There's some Kong stuffers. This is a bag of veggie scraps that I used to make stock. This is some beef soup bones. And then some of this style of Kong stuffers. Now, lots of meaty things and bones. More veggie ends, carrot ends. Found my other silicone mold, and this one came pre-stuffed with Kong stuffers apparently. So these guys here, they're too big to go in the hole on that Kong that I had for Shadow here. I believe this Kong is considered a medium, and this is the one that I stuffed 2 of the bar-shaped ones into. So this, it doesn't fit. You'd have to force it. But the next size up of Kong, I used to have one I had a bigger dog previously, and he had a bigger Kong. And this, you were able to shove it in there. You could actually shove 2 of them in there, and because it's tapered like that, you could pop it in there, and then it's just the flat part underneath the round, and just like the little guys, they have to sit there and work at it for quite a while. I think that kept Shadow busy for a good 20 minutes, I would say, with the bar ones on this one. I should just say also my molds here. This one is a Wilton. I don't know, I believe that's for chocolate or confectionaries or something like that. And then the other one that I already put in the freezer, that one is Epicure. And I don't know, I heard that Epicure is um, going out of business, and it's a Canadian company. I believe that Pampered Chef might sell similar or the same products. So those silicone bar molds, you might be able to get through there as well. Or find a friend that sells Epicure and maybe they still have some stock left of the other stuff. It's like minus 25 out. Why am I putting them in the freezer? Okay.